Welcome back to This Explainer. Today, we're going to fundamentally shift how you see a heliport. If you've ever looked at a hospital roof or a corporate facility and just seen a big painted H on the ground, well, you're in for a really fascinating ride today. We're peeling back the layers to uncover the hidden complexity of these amazing facilities.
Okay, let's dive right into this macro hero view, because what you're looking at isn't just a slab of concrete. It's a dynamic, highly integrated operational system. Sure, you've got the landing area right in the center, but notice everything surrounding it. The hangar, the passenger lounge, the operations building, that dedicated fire and rescue truck, the above-ground fuel tanks. This is a complex socio-technical ecosystem where the physical infrastructure, the people, and the procedures all have to operate in total harmony.
So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover approach to touchdown, the heliport landing zones, the wider operating environment, visual aids and guidance, ground movement and people, and finally, an integrated operational system.
Section 1. From approach to touchdown, the flight cycle begins. Let's trace the helicopter's journey right out of the sky.
It's really important to understand that a landing isn't just a sudden drop from the sky, right? It's a continuous, highly controlled process. And it breaks down into 4 distinct phases: the initial approach and assessment, aligning on final, stabilizing over the landing zone, and then finally, the actual touchdown.
During that initial approach phase, the pilot is actively assessing the environment, looking out for obstacles and checking the wind. Then they transition to being on final, perfectly aligning the aircraft with the designated approach path. As they move closer, they stabilize in a hover right over the landing zone before descending vertically to firmly touch down. It's honestly just a seamless flow of absolute precision fly.
Section 2. The heliport landing zones. Let's demystify the anatomy of the ground itself.
If we use the proper ICAO terminology, the central operational zone isn't just a single circle. It's divided into distinct functions. First up, we have the FATO. That stands for Final Approach and Takeoff Area. This provides a secure, defined zone for safe approach and takeoff maneuvers. Inside, or coincident with that, is the TLOF, the Touchdown and Liftoff Area. The TLOF is the specifically reinforced surface meant for the actual physical contact with the helicopter's skids or wheels.
You can kind of think of these zones like a giant bullseye. The TLF is right in the center for touchdown, surrounded by the darker FATO for the approach. Encompassing both of those is a wide safety area. This is a critical, obstacle-free buffer zone designed to reduce risk during an emergency undershoot or overshoot. It's a buffer, not for normal operations. And I want to emphasize right here, not every single heliport will look exactly like this. Configurations and definitions vary widely depending on the type of operation, helicopter performance, and the local jurisdiction.
Moving on to Section 3, the wider operating environment, because a heliport absolutely does not exist in a vacuum.
So you might be wondering, considering all the buildings, cranes, and terrain out there in a modern city, what exactly dictates how a helicopter can safely maneuver towards this space in the first place?
While the surrounding environment directly shapes these invisible, highly protected airspace corridors that project out from the heliport. Pilots literally have to clear tall buildings, navigate around construction cranes, account for roads, and avoid noise-sensitive communities, all while actively reading the wind and weather. The heliport includes these heavily protected airspace slopes that allow the aircraft to transition safely between the sky and the ground.
Section 4. Visual aids and guidance. Seeing the path.
To navigate this complex, obstacle-rich environment safely, pilots rely on visual aids. But these aids fundamentally change based on the light. During the bright hours of the day, pilots look for distinct painted surface markings. But as the sun sets, paint isn't going to cut it. At night, a carefully designed, color-coded array of lighting takes over to define those exact same safe operating areas.
It's really cool to see how this environment completely transforms. In stark daylight, you've got a bright yellow FATO ring and a white H marking the zones, plus a fabric windsock for wind direction. But at dusk, that windsock actually glows to life. And in full night operations, it becomes the stunning visual language. Green perimeter lights define the edges. Bright white floodlights wash over the surface so the pilot has depth perception. Amber lights secure the safety area. And crucial red obstruction lights warn of hazards in the surrounding environment. It is a complete, illuminated system.
Section 5. Ground movement and people. Safe surface operations. Landing the helicopter is really just the beginning, because once those skids hit the ground, the operation shifts entirely to surface movement.
The helicopter doesn't just sit on the TLOF all day. It actively taxis along very specific, designated ground routes, following center line lights, straight to a secure parking stand. There, it's parked, engines are shut down, rotors stop spinning, and only then do vital servicing tasks like refueling and baggage handling actually begin. Every single movement is meticulously planned.
And this brings us to arguably the most unpredictable element of the whole shebang: humans. Keeping people safe requires absolute, clear segregation. Passengers are guided along protected pedestrian routes, kept entirely clear of heavy rotor wash, ground handling vehicles, and restricted red zones. You've got flight crews, engineering staff handling jet fuel, and security personnel, all operating in really close proximity. So coordination here isn't just nice to have, it's a matter of life and death.
That is exactly why every single person stepping foot on a heliport lives by these strict foundational principles. Separate people from active aircraft, follow procedures without exception, communicate your intentions clearly, constantly stay aware of your surroundings, because remember, a turning rotor blade is practically invisible, and immediately report any hazards you see.
Finally, Section 6, an integrated operational system. Let's look at the complete picture. Making all of this happen day in and day out requires an incredible backbone of support infrastructure. We're talking massive hangars for maintenance, specialized above-ground fuel facilities designed with strict spill containment, and an operations building managing flight planning. And critically, it involves dedicated emergency access routes, highly trained personnel, and rapid response fire and rescue services equipped with specialized phone. Everything is designed for absolute reliability, especially during an emergency.
Zooming all the way out, the whole premise of our explainer becomes super clear. A heliport is a complete socio-technical system. The aircraft might be at the center, sure, but it's surrounded by interconnected rings of vital support. The physical infrastructure, the people, the standard operating procedures, and the external environment, like the airspace and the weather, they are all intimately tied together.
Every safe operation relies entirely on balancing these 5 core elements. Think about it. If you change the aircraft type, you might need to update the infrastructure. If the environment changes because someone built a new skyscraper nearby, your procedures have to adapt. And I'll say it again, while this balance is a universal necessity, the exact configurations and regulatory requirements will vary widely from one facility to another and across different global jurisdictions. There is no one-size-fits-all heliport.
Which brings us to our ultimate takeaway from today's explainer. The landing area is only one part of the system. Understanding that invisible web of infrastructure, people, and procedures pulling an aircraft safely out of the sky really shifts your entire perspective on aviation safety, doesn't it? Well, knowing how complex this system is perfectly sets the stage for our next topic. Join me for Episode 3, the ICAO Framework for Heliports, where we're going to explore the fascinating international standards that actually govern this very system across the globe. See you then!